Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, aka BGFH, and I am back for another hardware review video. This time, we're looking at the iPhone XS Max. I have to be careful not to say S or XS Max, because that's kind of the way I think of it. For multiple reasons. And, you know, the screen reader says it that way. And when you look at the price of these suckers, yeah, XS is right. Good God, man. They're $1 trillion company. You think they could maybe, think they've made enough money? But like I said, starting price of these is like right around $1,100, and they go up to almost $1,500 for the 512 gig version, which is new this year. I didn't go that crazy. I looked at my 7 Plus and went, you know, I got a 256 version. I still have quite a bit of space left. I can go 256. So that's what I did. I have the iPhone XS Max Space Gray version that you can see here. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it. I wanted the iPhone X last year for the OLED screen and the better camera and everything, but I was not going to sacrifice my screen size. You know, I'm used to the 6 Plus, the 7 Plus. I like that larger screen. And the 10 just did not have a larger screen. You know, I liked OLED, but I wasn't, I didn't want to go for a smaller screen, and I really wasn't convinced about Face ID. And I'm still not, but we'll get there in a moment. This year, of course, the camera is going to be better. You have the OLED screen. This is the biggest iPhone Apple's ever made, so you have the 6.5-inch screened monstrosity here. And it's big. And let me tell you a couple of key things I love about this thing right away. The screen size, the clarity of the OLED screen, and I got to tell you, the OLED, the crispness, and the screen size, it looks really good. And when you combine that with the camera and like magnifying things, especially like with the built-in Apple magnifier feature, things look pretty good, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So, the device itself, it looks pretty standard. You got on the back there, just very simple. You got your Apple logo, you got your cameras up there. Nothing too much, really. It's a nice, smooth-looking kind of a fingerprint magnet, but hey, I put it in a case anyway. On the top, you got nothing this year. Usually you have the power lock switch up there, but nope. It has migrated to the right-hand side now. On the left-hand side, you've got your traditional mute switch, which I'm glad they haven't gotten rid of yet, and your volume up-down buttons. On the bottom, you got your speaker, your microphone, and your lightning connector. So that's still the same. However, one thing that's definitely missing that I do kind of mourn the loss of. Goodbye home button. It's not there. No home button on any of the new iPhones this year. The iPhone XS or the XS Max or the upcoming XR. No home button. It's basically just going extinct as far as what Apple has to say about it, it seems. So just got to get used to it. Instead, we have the rather controversial notch. Yeah, you can kind of see it up there. Even though the screen is off, you'll notice it more when it's on. But, yep, that is the notch. That's for your cameras and your Face ID instead of Touch ID. And, I don't mind the notch so much if I'm on the home screen or if I'm in, like, mail or something, like, vertical like that in portrait orientation. But, like, when you go into landscape, you're watching a movie, you're looking at a game, it looks dumb because you got this nice smooth edge on the one side, and then if it goes full screen, either you have borders down both sides, which was what happens to a lot of your YouTube videos, or if you get something that full screens like a game, or if you I use Amazon Video a lot, and if you maximize that, then it goes all the way to the edge of the screens, which looks good, except it cuts off the little middle strip where the stupid notch is, which still looks kind of dumb. I think they could do a better and just make a strip, you know? I mean, who cares if it's just a little top bezel? Just make it a bezel so it's actually smooth. The notch and the, what do you know, people call them the ears sometimes. Not a fan. I didn't show you the box this time because it's an Apple box. If you've seen one Apple box, you've kind of seen them all, you know? I mean, it's a very simple, simple packaging. You get the phone, you get your little earbuds, you get your lightning cable, and you get a little power brick. However, a couple things they don't come with that it should. I mean, for God's sake, the phone costs enough. You don't get a big power brick, so you're the one that you would get with the iPad. You don't get that for this expensive phone, so you get the tiny regular brick, which is stupid. They absolutely should include the bigger one, because, like I said, you're paying enough money. I mean, it can't cost more than a couple cents to make the thing. It doesn't affect me too much because I don't even use the brick it came with. I just plug a lightning cord into I've got a hub at work and a hub at home, USB hub, 5-6 port hubs, and then just it charges things really fast. Never had a problem, works beautifully. So I've gotten around that a little bit, or else I just use my iPad charger if I'm in a situation where I really need to use a brick. And it does not come with the headphone to lightning adapter like the previous generations did. Nope, that's gone too. Like I said, that thing probably cost a whole 5 cents to make. But we gotta make sure that we are a $1 trillion company. That comes first. I mean, come on, gotta get our priorities straight here. I did get a case for it. It's nothing special. Went on Amazon, picked one up for maybe, I don't know, $8-10, somewhere around there. It's just it's basically like Apple's little bumper cases. You got your microfiber kind of lining in the middle. It's very thin, very light. On the outside is kind of got this rubbery, I forget what you call this material, but it's like a bendy, rubbery material. And yeah, I mean, that's all it is. You got the cutout for the camera. You slide it in the bottom there. You slap it in. Done. It sticks out a little bit over the screen on the top, but I wish it would stick out just a little bit more. I wish, I like things when it sticks up just a little bit higher than the screen when you put the phone actually in the case. But, I mean, there's nothing much else to say about it. It's a gray case. Protects it fine. This particular material does definitely collect dust and any sort of thing that can cling onto it. That's the one thing I don't like, so you have to kind of brush it off all the time. But there you go. It's light. It works. It's a case. It's a bumper. 4:15 p.m. All right, phone itself. Here we go. So I've turned this. I've bumped it by accident, but yeah. So we can turn this thing on. Like I said, no home button. You have the flashlight and the camera. You can see the notch more plainly there. You see you got your status bars. They split it up on either side. So you got your battery and Bluetooth stuff on the right, or your cellular, and then you got all your time and whatever on the left. One thing I don't like is on the iPhone 7 Plus, right near my battery, 4:16 p.m. in the upper right there used to be, if I had a headset plugged in, it would also give me if I had a Bluetooth headset connected, it would also give me the battery level of that headset, which I found to be extremely helpful, especially with the aftershocks, where you do have to kind of monitor those a little bit more and make sure you charge them every couple day or two. But they don't seem to really have it anymore, and I don't know why. And I even looked under the control center, like when you bring that down, it'll say like what Bluetooth device is connected. It'll say my headphones are connected, but it still doesn't give me a battery level. So I don't know if that's an iOS 12 thing, or if it's a 10s Max thing. I don't really know, but bring it back. Patch that back into iOS 12.1 because I like knowing my Bluetooth battery power. So let's start with the controversial part here. Face ID. No home button. You got to use Face ID or a PIN to secure your phone, or really, really unsecure it and just don't add a PIN, which I wouldn't recommend, especially for a phone. You lose that sucker, and you don't have any protection on there. Yeah. With the amount of stuff people keep on their phone, yeah, just don't do it. When I set it up originally, Face ID worked. I got through the setup with VoiceOver on. The setup process was actually overall pretty easy. All I had to do, because of the new versions of iOS, I just held it right near my iPad Pro, and it found, oh, okay, we're going to copy over my Apple ID, we're going to copy over a lot of my settings, we're going to copy over my Wi-Fi network. I didn't have to connect to my home Wi-Fi. Boom, it knew it. That was cool. So I like that. And normally when I do these, when I get a new device, I clean the fridge and I install things from scratch, because that way I can just get rid of apps I don't need. This time I just didn't have the patience. I had my iPhone 7 Plus backup. I said, you know what, screw it, let's restore from the cloud and see what happens. I did, and it worked mostly great. However, the one thing I forgot about is that it doesn't actually back up the apps, it just backs up their places. So things like, I didn't, if the apps are not in the store anymore, they're not there. The icons came over, but no more something else games. They're gone. They're gone. They're destroyed. Thankfully, I have them on my 7 Plus here, so I can still access them for a little while yet, but they're gone. But the restore went well. The Touch ID or the Face ID setup, basically what you do, if you have VoiceOver on, what it does is normally there's a gaze component where you have to kind of eyeball it. You have to kind of, look at the camera. Well, it kind of assumes that VoiceOver users may not be able to do that as easily, so it automatically disables that extra level of gaze security, and it basically just takes a capture of your face. I haven't tried to put the gaze stuff back in. It may work, but I'm wondering because of the nystagmatism or nystagmus, the rapid eye movement thing that I have. I don't know if the gaze is going to work because the eyes just move around, and I don't know if it'll be able to keep track of that. I really should try that. And I know people are, some people are rightly kind of annoyed because, everybody else gets higher security. They got rid of Touch ID, and essentially with the, I don't know if with this, without the gaze support, I don't know if you could unlock the phone with a picture of somebody's face with that extra layer of security disabled. I don't know. But it would be a lot easier for somebody, especially if you were totally blind, somebody could pick up your phone quietly, hold it in front of your face at the right distance, and it would unlock without you knowing. Well, assuming you didn't have VoiceOver, and assuming VoiceOver didn't start talking and give them away. But, it's a potential sort of a concern there. When I set up Face ID, I got through the first part that you have to basically, it tells you to get your face in view, and you kind of rotate your head a little bit so it can kind of capture, you kind of roll your neck a little bit to make sure that it gets the different angles of your face. And the first time it worked great. I went through that no problem. Second time through, I got about 50 to 60% through, and I just could not get that last 40%. I must have struggled with that for about 2-3 minutes, and finally, I just kind of started it again, and I got it a lot quicker that next time. But for whatever reason, that second pass, it just took a bit longer. And you do have to hold the phone. When you are using Face ID, you have to hold the phone, I would say 10 to 20 inches away, and you have to get it at the right angle. You know, you got to do it in portrait. And yeah, like I said, you have to make sure you get the right distance, the right angle. I mean, I love Touch ID. I could just literally put my finger on there, boom, it was just done. You're in. I'm getting used to it, and it does work with my sunglasses, which I wear a lot. It will work with that. I know some sunglasses it doesn't. Others it does. Thankfully, mine it will. I've done it several times. But I still find it doesn't work as well as I would like. Touch ID, unless I had like really wet hands, like if I was doing dishes or something, it worked, or I was out in the rain, it worked pretty much every time. I would say Face ID, I can't even really give a percentage, but like, I would say the majority, it gets me more than it doesn't. But sometimes I have to do it a couple times for it to register. And I definitely find myself having to actually think about, you know, like I said, Touch ID, it's unconscious. You just put your finger on the bottom of the phone, you're there. I have to consciously think about, okay, is it far enough away? Do I have it at the right angle? Does that work? And it will work in complete dark. I've done that in my bedroom in the middle of the night a couple times as well. So Face ID works there. But it is pretty fast, but I would still say it's not still as consistent and reliable as Touch ID is. I do miss Touch ID, even if they put it on the back of the phone. I don't know. Or, you know, they have that under the screen thing that they were rumored to do. Yeah, if Face ID works, I've learned to kind of live with it. But it's not, you know, it's not the end of the world. You can totally use it as a voiceover user. But I don't like it as much. So let's have fun. Let's turn this thing on. I'll show you a little bit of the display. I'll show you about the speed of the thing, because, well, let me tell you, this thing is fast. I mean, I go for my 7 Plus. I knew it would be faster, obviously, but man. So I'm going to move my phone away for a moment.
4:24 p.m. Try again. Unlocked. Books folder. 10 apps.
All right, there we go. I used my Face ID. We got my home screen here. So when VoiceOver is on, gestures are, here's the way, with no home button, here's the way it works. Okay, I want my notification center. I go up to the top, the very top. Now listen for the audio. You hear the boom, boom, boom. When you hit that third audio note, you get your notifications. Now, if I want to dismiss this, if I dismiss and I want to go home, you see the little line on the bottom there, and even if you don't, basically you take your finger in the middle of the screen, bottom middle, swipe until you hear 2, you hear the boom, boom. Now you're home. So now, let's say that I want to go to my notification, not my notification, my control center. It's not the bottom anymore. Instead, it's the top. You go 1, 2. You don't go 1, 2, 3 like you do for notifications. You go 1, 2 down with those audio sounds. And then there is your control center. You know, you got all your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You got your mirroring, your brightness, your volume, media, and then your little app shortcuts. Again, go up from the bottom. Pop, pop. We're home. So if you want to go from, you're like, how do you open the app switcher then? Well, just like on the top, you have 2 tones for your 2 tones for your control center, 3 for your notifications. Bottom 2 up is home, 3 up. Pop, pop, pop. And that's all I have open right now. So YouTube, let's go open that real quick. Now, this is just some videos in my part of my channel, not all of which I've released to you guys yet. But let's show you, because I'll do my videos because I know I won't get copyrighted, because they're mine. Let's just do...
Low vision spotlight. Time spinner. No views.
I'll give you a
25,
sneak peek
57 minutes.
of
Low vision spotlight. Time spinner. No
a,
views.
a video I haven't released for you guys
Video
yet.
Video is loaded back. Button.
Now I'm going to flip it sideways.
Landscape. Home button to the left.
Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited.
Now I'm going to turn voiceover off.
Jesse, aka BTFH, and I am back for another low vision
Voiceover off.
spotlight game video. This time we're looking at a
Okay,
game
so there's your
I
game.
didn't even know existed until about 2 weeks ago.
And I'm going to try to do this.
As I'm recording this. Ow. Oh yeah, those guys. The charging
You probably can't tell exactly how clear it is, but I mean, this screen looks stunning.
Ow.
This is kind of a Metroidvania kind of a deal, which I will release to you here
Oh,
shortly.
yeah. Okay, yeah, this is
So now I'm going to, I'm in landscape, so I'm in a video, I'm going to flick up from the bottom,
that's gonna go to
and
area.
now I'm going to go portrait again.
Yeah,
Come on.
ow. Yeah, look at that. Boom, level up. It's just...
Okay, we'll close YouTube. So there, there's a video. Now I don't have voiceover on right now, and the gestures. So if you're low vision and you go back and forth between using voiceover, not using voiceover, there's a few more gestures to learn. So,
One face. Small face. Face center.
oh, shut up, voice. It sees a face on an icon somewhere.
One face. Small face.
So now the notch comes into play because I don't have voiceover running. If I swipe down from the left, there's my notification center. I don't have any, but there's my clock, so you see it worked. Again, I'm going to swipe up from the bottom, just do a flick. I go home. And the right side, I have to do this from the right-hand side of the notch. There's your control center. So top left, notification. Top right is your control center. And like I said, with voiceover, you have the 2 and 3 little audio cues for those types of things, so it doesn't really matter what side you do there if voiceover's on. Now, app switcher's a little different. This one took me a little bit to get the hang of, because I couldn't get it to work. I thought it was a thing where you had to, where, okay, if you go up so far, it goes home, and then if you go up further, kind of like voiceover, then it would go to the app switcher. No, it doesn't seem to work that way. What you do is you bring it up from the bottom, you take your finger, you slide up, and you hold, oops, oh, I don't have any app open. All right, let's go settings, just so I have an app. Let's go home. There we go. I swipe up and hold for a second, and then boom, and then I can just flick left and right, just like I normally would in my app switcher. So that is how you do...
One face.
That is how you do the app switching in on the phone without voiceover on. So it's slightly different, but it works. So again, I can launch a game. And this is going to tell you how quickly things launch. I'm going to open this Prince of Persia thing here. I'm going to do a video on this more than likely. This game is cool. So I'm going to tap. I'm playing this looking through my 7 Plus to my phone. Oh, I have it muted. Let's see if I get very far. I'm pretty far in this game, so I don't remember what this level's like. Jump, jump, jump. Oh God, spikes. That'll be the death of me. All right, go home,
One face.
go up,
Face center.
close it, settings, go home, boom. Let's open something else.
One face. Small face. Face
We'll open the App Store. Look at how quickly that is. It opens, go home. Let's open up this Spider-Man game I just got. This little Spider-Man Endless Runner sort of a thing. Look at how fast. It's loading. Close that. Again, I close YouTube. Well, let's open up YouTube again. Boom, it's there. Okay. close it, close it, close it, done. Let's open Netflix. Okay, that loaded very fast. Shunk, there we go. Home. My pastimes when I like to read is Balls game. Boom, it's up and loaded. We're there. Oh, you crashed. That, I've had that happen on this phone, and I don't know if it's like, it must be some combination of this phone and iOS 12, because it happens fairly often, but then when I go back into the app, it'll load and it's fine. So either you logged into Game Center right away. Check out my high score. Heck yeah. So that launched. Go check the weather. It just instant. I mean, this thing is just stupid fast. I mean, it's so fast. I was going to do this review earlier. Let me turn voiceover. Oh no. No, don't do that. Let me turn it sideways so I can.
VoiceOver on. Blindness folder. 18 apps. Double tap to open.
I was going to do this review earlier, but shortly thereafter I got the phone. Well, I got sick first. I got this kind of cold T-virus sort of thing that you've heard on the channel in one or two of my other videos recently, and right after that, I ended up. My Comcast internet decided it was going to go stupid, not just for me, but apparently for people in our building after talking to some residents. So I would say for a good 5 days or so, give or take. The internet was just complete trash, but it seems to have recovered. I still have an appointment with them this weekend just in case something goes stupid. But let's go utilities. Let's do a speed test real quick. Just again, you can see how quickly things load. Boom, we're in, go.
Starting paint test.
And voiceover is not faltering at all. Boom, okay, yeah, we got the high speed there. And if I see that, I know I'm good. But, the cell reception in this is, about the same, or it's probably better, but like I've said before, in my building, I don't know if it's something in our building's construction, a lot of steel on the frame or something, so we don't get good cell signals. So I've got this little Verizon network extender over here that I piggyback off of my Comcast internet through wired. And, well, the problem is you can't really boost your cell signal with your Wi-Fi or with your other internet if you don't have other internet. So I was kind of without a phone for those several days too, which was kind of an inconvenience. Granted, I don't use the phone a lot, but when I do, I would like to call to work. And even, like I said, even Skype on my computer didn't work. So, it wasn't just Wi-Fi. I mean, Comcast was just screwy all around. And so I wanted to put it off until, because like I said, I wanted to see how did the Wi-Fi hold up in my bedroom or around the apartment. The call quality. So when things started picking up again a couple days ago, it actually works quite well. The apps load quickly. The data is really good. I can go into Safari.
Settings. Safari. Safari.
Safari, we're open. Oh yeah, okay. So I was looking at some Amazon stuff there, Amazon Video.
Tabs.
Boom. See, I mean, just everything is so fast
Safari.
and responsive. So that I don't have a problem with at all. It's fast, it's responsive. Yes, you do have to get used to some of the new gestures, but I found that I've used it enough, both with and without voiceover, that I'm kind of pretty much used to it. Sometimes I forget if voiceover's off. Sometimes I forget that I have to do the upper right thing, swipe down gesture in order to get the control center. Sometimes I forget that. Now, to turn voiceover on and off, you don't have a home button, but you do use your side button, your power lock button on the right-hand side. So you triple tap that. That will turn voiceover on and off. And I mean, originally I was kind of confused because I was like, yeah, but if you hit the power button, you lock the thing. is it going to flash the screen on and off? No, they must have thought that through well enough, because if you hit it fast enough to trigger voiceover on and off, it'll do it. And then if you just hit it once, it'll kind of wait for a second, and then the screen goes dim or wakes up. So that's not an issue. If you hit it twice, if you hit your lock button twice, it brings up your Apple Pay, your wallet thingy. So that works. I haven't used that because I have my watch. What else? Oh, the camera. I have to talk about the camera. I don't know if I'm really going to be able to show you it in this video because I'm only two-handed, and this is going to be real interesting. But I've tried a couple of the third-party, like over 40, like some of the apps I've covered in my magnifier videos, and they're good. But I wish that they would really, truly, I don't know that they're really getting much updates anymore, because I really want them to, maybe add some code or better work with the new cameras that are in these devices, because it looks fine, but you can tell it doesn't have the same sharpness as Apple's own camera or Apple's own magnifier app. And, it's unfortunate because, like I said, I've said this in another video, I'd kill for somebody to make, I don't want bells and whistles. It doesn't have to do OCR and, a tip calculator and all the other nonsense that some of these other apps have. I just want a really good, crisp, good, fast responding magnifier that has some alternate color modes, black and white, white on black, yellow on black, yellow and blue, your standards, and just have it respond well, and have it really, really take advantage of the extra processor, the extra GPU, and most of all, the better cameras of these new devices. Because while I like the built-in zoom, or the built-in camera,
Voiceover off.
so I'm going to turn this off, because for magnifier I have to, we're going to open that up. Oh, did I touch the wrong thing? Hang on. It's hard to do this one-handed. Uh-oh. Shit, what did I do? Hang on. I tapped the wrong thing. Third time's a charm. Okay, here we go. So it's on the desk. Oh, it's way set up high. But I'm going to look at how fast I look at the computer screen. I've got my YouTube channel up. I want to look at, oh, this is hard to do. I'm looking through two phones right now. This is nuts. But I can move the phone away. There's my screen straight up from this phone. And boom, I literally put it in front of that screen. And, when I was using this to look at games on my 7 Plus, you could do it, but it was finicky. Like, sometimes you would have to really, it would take a long time for it to focus, and sometimes it wouldn't focus, and so you had to tap the screen to refocus. And I pull it away, focus on something else. I bring it back, and it's just there. It's so good. You look at a piece of paper, or something. What do I have over here? Do I have anything with some text on it? Let's see. Oh, okay. It's upside down, but it's a case of some kind. Oh, this is the case for my the little case I got for my phone. But yeah, so using the magnifier app is wonderful. The problem is Apple needs to really rethink this a little bit. I'm so glad they put it in there in iOS. What was it, 10 that came out first? I think 10 or 11. But I have some issues. Like, I know you can switch to some of the other filters, and then you have these sliders. But I just want a button that I can just hit and it'll just go through full color, grayscale, white on black, black and white, yellow and blue, red and whatever. Maybe you can check or uncheck the filters you want. I just want to hit a button and be able to toggle. And the other major issue that I have is to the best of my knowledge, you cannot hide, once you get everything set the way you want, you can't hide the controls. Now, I have a big screen, so I still have a pretty, good viewfinder window here. God, look at how fast that focuses. That is so good. That is so good. That's why I want a third party or Apple themselves. Come on, guys. Just, make a sweet, sweet magnifier app. Like I said, if I knew somebody who would code the thing and code it well, I would work with you and I would probably help pay you to do it because I want one that badly. But you can't hide these controls when you get it. I can turn the flash on, I can turn autofocus on and off, but when I get all this done, I can't hide it, to my knowledge. The other minor thing that I would say is here is your slider, and it's kind of small. You're looking at somebody with low vision, you got to find this, this little tiny control. Why can't it? I don't think it works. Oh, maybe they did fix that, because before, pinching to zoom did not work. I swear to God, that didn't work. I was going to say, make pinch to zoom work. But again, so like if I chose my color mode that I want, I turn my flash on and off, whatever. From there, let me hide this interface and just pinch to zoom. If they would do that if they would make those couple of changes on their magnifier app, that's pretty much all you would need. That's you get that, and if you want your OCR, you got your Prismo Go, you've got Seeing AI, you've got KNFB Reader, you've got God knows what else. You're good. So, like I said, I could go on and on. I could go on and on about like the different, I'm not going to be all the video where like, oh, here's the exact specs and thickness and dimensions and whatever. But I'm just focusing on how I use this thing. It was easy to set up. I had a little bit of issue with the Face ID. The second sequence where I had to set up the Face ID, had a little bit of trouble with that, but I got it in the end. Face ID is not quite as, I wouldn't say accurate, but not quite as reliable as Touch ID or as I would want it to be. And a battery life. I've used it a lot this past couple of weeks, and it's gotten me through the day. I would say it's comparable to what I had on the 7 Plus, maybe a little bit longer. It depends on what you're doing. Are you using Bluetooth? What is the brightness of your screen? Are you just internet surfing or listening to audio? Or are you playing, graphic intensive games? Or watching movies? It just depends. But I can get a good day out of it. If I'm really heavily using it, I may have to think about charging it a little bit. But like I said, when I'm at work, if I'm in the office, if I notice it's getting a little bit low and I know I'm going to want to watch a lot of or do things with it when I get home, I work on my computer. I just set the thing on my wireless charger. We're fine. So, battery life, it's comparable to like it's comparable to like what your plus size phones would be. And so, like I said, the main takeaways with the 10S Max, yes, it is expensive. That was one of the reasons I'm like, God, do I really want to update? I know they're probably going to make some major significant updates next year. This is kind of an equivalent of your S model. So it's not much different than last year's 10. But I'm going from, iOS 12 sped up my 7 Plus a decent amount, actually. But I really wanted, like I said, I've wanted an OLED screen. I love my Samsung tablet. It's OLED screen. I love other ones that I've seen. And now that it has the bigger size, just like my Plus, if not a little bigger, I can use it and it's fine. It's really fast. I've said this stuff about Face ID versus Touch ID. If you have an older phone, maybe you got a 6 Plus, maybe even a 7 Plus, and especially if you're low vision, if you have the money to do it, I could recommend the XS Max because, like I said, I know it probably doesn't come through on the phone shooting the other phone. Maybe I can try to do a direct feed magnifier video through the new phone on my computer through Reflector. But like I said, when you see how sharp and how quickly, when you put it over a piece of paper, when you put it over a computer monitor or an appliance dial, just how quickly it responds. And if if they're going to do an iPad announcement later this month, if the camera's in, like because my dad is using my old iPad too. And I was debating, well, do I want to get this year's iPad if they make one, a new iPad Pro, and give my dad my current iPad Pro, which is still good, or am I going to keep my current iPad Pro and am I going to give them my, go buy them like the cheap 2018 iPad they announced earlier this year? And, I was kind of leaning toward keeping my old iPad, but God, if the camera in their new iPad Pros are as good as the ones if they put the same cameras, at least are very, very close to the same ones that they put in the XS Max, oh boy, I might have to look into that, because then I could play more with like tablet style CCTV possibilities. So yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but like I said, the camera is really good. Forget about all that beauty gate nonsense. I mean, it's like, oh, it looks smoother than it's supposed to. I mean, for a low vision audience, I mean, I don't notice, I've taken a couple pictures and stuff, and they look fine. They look fine. I'm actually looking forward to shooting a video with this thing just to see how it does. I haven't actually really gotten to do that yet. So, but I've used the camera. I mean, all your apps, all of your OCR apps, your Object ID apps, your magnifiers, they work great. So that is pretty much it. That is a review of the iPhone XS Max. You can get it in 64, 256, or the gargantuan 512 gigabytes models, but you're going to be paying a chunk of money. They have the iPhone XR coming out later this month, which is going to have a LCD screen instead of OLED. So we'll have to see how that turns out. But no, I really wanted an OLED screen. Any way you look at it, if you're looking at an upgrade this year, the home button's gone. You just have to suck it up and deal with it, like I did. And yeah, I would say even if you have an iPhone 8 or 8 Plus, I would hold off until next year. See what they do next year. If you have an iPhone 10, unless you really, really, really want the big screen and you just got the iPhone 10 last year because whatever reason, you could. But if you have a 10, I definitely wouldn't worry about upgrading. If you have an 8 Plus, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it. 7 Plus, I could see doing it a little bit more if you have the money to do so. Again, it's a money thing. If you have a 6 or a 6 Plus, no brainer. I would definitely recommend either an 8 Plus or a XS Max. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Try to be as thorough as I can, especially tying it into the accessibility stuff some. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79. You can follow me on mixer.com/BGFH. And yeah, like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel. Keep them coming. And until next time, I will talk to you guys again later.